Up next is Fred Ross, the founder of Seeds of Freedom, and his vision. Fred, you're up. Please welcome Fred Ross.
Thank you, Lou. It's quite a series of wonderful speakers here today. Inspiring and sorely needed. If you've been watching what's been going on in the current administration, we're literally seeing our country about to go right down the drain. We're nearing what they call an event horizon. You know, that place and moment in space which, once passed, everything gets sucked into a black hole. Only in this case, a black hole of national bankruptcy caused by bankrupt ideas, from political correctness to global warming, and run by a system of regulatory agencies, which, like the mythological nine-headed hydra, is making life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, along with individual initiative, increasingly unattainable, if not impossible. And when they go, so goes human dignity, and those who remain will have to live under an all-powerful, all-knowing, and ubiquitous government tyranny. How on earth did this happen, that individual czars are empowered with making laws which must be obeyed by 300 million people without any accountability or possibility to appeal their plight? It goes against everything America stands for, and it goes against the clear language of the U.S. Constitution and the intentions of our founding fathers. Still as vibrant and self-evident for anyone to read in the Federalist Papers today as they were 200 years ago. All around us, freedom is in retreat, and with it private property and the individualism, ambition, and self-confidence needed for entrepreneurs to thrive and build personal and national wealth. Never in my life did I expect America to see threats from within greater and more imminent than those from without. President Bush's biggest blunder was to disregard internal threats while he was out fighting Islamic fundamentalism around the globe. The mainstream press would not vet Obama, and their failure has left us exposed to every type of corruption and shenanigan that money can buy. So what is Seeds of Freedom and how did it start? I was sitting home, semi-retired, watching this all develop day after day since Obama took office, seeing our way of life starting to disappear, watching on television politicians so brazen that they openly talked about how they were bribing and being bribed to vote for a health care bill which would deliver our citizens, you know, the people you're supposed to protect, whose consent you need in order to govern as moral leaders, approve a 2,700-page monstrosity which delivers the citizens, the people of America, into the hands of a dictatorship where bureaucrats will have power over our very lives. If the court doesn't stop it, in a few years you'll be afraid to say you're a conservative or a libertarian because liberal bureaucrats will be able to trump up any excuse they want to deprive your mother, your spouse, your father, or your son or daughter from getting open heart surgery or a hip replacement, or perhaps even antibiotic. If you dare not to wear political correctness on your sleeve and hop to the liberal mindset. Basically doing to society as a whole what's happening at the colleges, which was so well described by Fire. With that kind of power, how can freedom of speech survive? How can any freedom survive when they have power over life and death for any citizen? So I was watching all this day after day, until at one point I called a family meeting, and we decided we need to do something about it, or at least try somehow to do something. But how can we fight when they now are pilfering billions and billions out of the treasury, whether it's TARP 1 or TARP 2, or the stimulus package, and they brazenly refuse to now even pass a budget for over 3 years, so nobody can see how far over budget their spending is. where our opposition can spend whatever they need to win elections and with an obedient mainstream press sway public opinion with lies. How can we fight them? How can we fight them? I hear repeatedly how 2/3 of Americans consider themselves to be conservative. Surely there's a way to access that latent power and energy which needs to possibly just be organized. And I know that thousands of others of you have all had the same concerns. That's what gave birth to the Tea Party movement and the growth of dozens of other freedom-loving and protecting groups. So our family together first decided to support organizations focused on protecting our liberties. Groups like FIRE, like the Media Research Center, Judicial Watch, the Institute for Justice, and many others. Every year we've donated thousands of dollars to these organizations, but we need to somehow donate millions and even tens of millions to enable them to fight for and protect our constitutional rights and liberties at the level that is needed. In other words, to make it a level playing field. It was out of focusing of our thoughts and efforts in this direction that was born the Seeds of Freedom, and a way for conservatives to raise millions, even hopefully billions of dollars, and without spending a dime more every week than they do now. Seeds of Freedom is going to make it possible for conservatives, Tea Party members, libertarians, American-loving people everywhere to not have to wait until Election Day to do something to protect our nation. I've spent 43 years in the manufacturing of consumer goods in the food industry, and I know that nearly every manufacturer of quality products packs their products under multiple labels and brands. Seeds of Freedom is building a large line of consumer products under the Seeds of Freedom brand, starting with a few dozen mainstream American food products like iced tea, ketchup, barbecue sauce, mustard, pancake syrup, strawberry jam, grape jelly, and then into dry goods like tissues, paper towels, and toilet paper. A Seeds of Freedom team of seasoned professionals will ensure only top quality merchandise will be available at reasonable and competitive prices in grocery stores and supermarkets across the nation. And for those who live where we don't yet have stores available, those products will be online, on the internet, and on Amazon, and any other way that people buy online. Seeds of Freedom has set up a foundation, 501c3 foundation, which will receive 100% of the profits that these products generate. A board of trustees will decide where the funds will go, and our bylaws and mission will require that they all go to aid and abet organizations that are fighting to protect our Constitution and the American way of life. Every time you go shopping, you can purchase what you need, but first ask the store where it keeps Seeds of Freedom products, and insist that they carry the full line if they want to keep you shopping there. We've done some projections, and the potential is staggering. Remember, 2/3 of Americans consider themselves conservatives, even if that's an exaggeration and it's only half. The grocery industry represents $550 billion a year of sales out of a $15 trillion gross domestic product. If Seeds of Freedom captures only 1% of that market, and why not 5%, or 7%, or 10%? But only 1% would represent $5.5 billion in yearly sales, and probably produce profits in excess of $800 million every year. 5% of the market would produce over $4 billion a year in profits, all of which can be used to fight against Acorn, MoveOn.org, George Soros, and Obamacare. We will produce honest profits, more than enough to offset their ill-gotten gains. And that, dear people, is only the grocery industry, which is only 4% of the gross domestic product. After that, we can include other industries, clothing, automotive, home furnishings, electronics, and on and on. In a few short years, Seeds of Freedom will have available more funds by far than all of the liberal supporters combined. But we can't do it without your help informing people. Help by purchasing what products you can for your families. Help by introducing us and Seeds of Freedom products to your families and friends, and announcing it in organizations you belong to, and to people in every walk of life that you know are honorable, freedom-loving, and American-loving people who will play a part in making this happen. The reason this can work is because we don't need anyone giving us anything. We mostly need cooperation and understanding from consumers and business people that we're all in this together. And only by working together on ideas and concepts like this are we going to save our dear country. We need stores to give us shelf space and people to spend the same funds on our quality products as the brands they're used to. In other words, though, instead of Heinz Ketchup, try Seeds of Freedom Ketchup. Instead of Snapple, try Seeds of Freedom iced tea. And in every category. The stores will make their normal profits, as will the manufacturers who run the products. Only these will be private labeled. They can package Seeds of Freedom iced tea and sell it to us at the same price that they would pack Safeway iced tea, or Pathmark iced tea, or Kroger's iced tea. Just all they do is just change the labels. We'll certainly be happy to accept some donations to help us get started, but that's not what we're about here. We shouldn't need large donations, only consumer loyalty and patriotic loyalty and involvement. We're hoping to get this off the ground in time to start donating funds prior to the upcoming elections. But certainly by this time next year, Seeds of Freedom will and can be playing a major role in protecting this great gift of freedom that once lost may never again be found. For the sake of our children, our families, our friends, and our countries, I ask you for your help and support. Thank you.